It's been a couple days since that disappointing performance by the Jags against the Ravens. Do you guys feel any better now that you've had a little time since the game ended?
I do. It's the week before Christmas, man. If you can't bring the energy, no one's going to give it to you. So, yes, I'm here to bring energy. I feel good.
Jaguars-wise, I feel a little better, but there's a lot of concerns.
Welcome into Jags A.M. here on Wednesday. I'm Kainani. Excuse me, I'm Kainani Stevens here with Brian Sexton and Jet Oehser. And we've had a little bit of time for the dust to settle since things went down on Sunday Night Football. Not what we wanted to see from that team, but we have to move forward as there's still some football left to be played, and they're tied to top the division of the AFC South now, so things are very important. Let's start off with our big things. The first big thing is positives. Doug Peterson, obviously after the game, not thrilled with how his team played, but you have to move forward, and he's trying to focus on the positives.
I think so much sometimes we focus on the negative all the time and not the positive. We gotta find the good too, and fill our players' heads with positive this time of year, because we feel like we're still a good football team, and we play like it at times, right? It's just at times we don't look very good.
It's just that simple, right, Brian? At times they just don't look very good.
Well, it's funny. So we don't put the question on, but I asked him the question: how is it that you take something that feels like it's compounding, like it gets worse week to week, and how do you break that cycle? And John, you probably recall there was a long pause before he answered the question. It was like he was trying to break that cycle in his own mind. He was still frustrated. You could tell when he walked in, and he started talking about having to be positive and bring positive energy to it. My follow-up question, I thought, was the most telling. I said, how difficult is it to do that? His response was, it's really difficult, especially the day after the loss. But you could sense, John, that he understood that this team still, if they could just get out of their own way on the field, but listen to the right voice in their head and ignore the internet and Twitter and all of those things that are telling them loss, 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 failure, 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 but focus just on where they really are. Win these last 3 games. It doesn't matter. You're in at 11-6, and you repeat as division champs for the first time since 1998 and 1999. That's the truth. Forget all the other stuff. Focus on that. And that was his message to them on Monday.
Yeah, going into this last 6 games, this on paper was a possibility, meaning Cincinnati, all the teams they've lost to the last 3 weeks have been good or playing well and might all be in the playoffs, depending on how things play out. So you sort of knew if they can get to those last 3, which are against teams that aren't on paper playing as well, then they can do it. But then once that reality hits you, it's like, oh no, they've lost 3 games. It's all still there in front of them. The worry for me is not necessarily that they lost the last 3 games. It's their situation now with quarterback, with personnel offensively. Does that sort of leak into the last 3 and sort of get into their heads? I think that's why Doug was trying to be so positive. It's his job to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it certainly could become an issue for them this week, and it touches on what I'm going to do for hot takes, so I won't go too deep into it other than to say that you really have to have a very strong mental approach this week, knowing that you're going to be playing without some key players.
When we looked at the schedule earlier in the year, I don't think we would have been shocked if they lost maybe the last 3 games or so, but it's the way that they've been losing, which leads into our big thing number 2. Some of the negatives, they've been hurting themselves. It's self-inflicted mistakes and just silly errors that they know they shouldn't be making. Josh Allen, a leader certainly on this team, he talked a little bit about helping his teammates, specifically Trayvon Walker, and improvements that they need to make going forward.
And that's another way of holding each other accountable. It was one play where I thought he didn't do it right. And, for me, I seen what I saw, so I got on him. But it wasn't the message, what I was saying. It was the words that was coming out, because this is something that we practiced, something that we did. But then once he explained it to me, we kind of, dialogue. Then it's like, okay, well, next time you do it, then let's do it like that. And then everything, he was just free, So it's just little things like that.
John, I feel like part of it, what makes it so frustrating is they can do it, and sometimes they're just making mistakes that kind of baffle us each week.
Yeah, and that's really the weird thing about the last 3 games. All 3 of those teams are playing well. on paper, you can certainly see why they lost those games. And you can make an argument that all three of those teams are playing better than the Jaguars right now. But at the same time, there were chances to win. And Doug's right when he says if they had just gotten out of their own way, they would have. That's really my storyline for the last 3 games. They should win their last 3. Even with the personnel on the field, they can beat Tampa. They can do these things they're talking about. But can they stop giving the ball away? Can they stop giving free points away on defense, which they did against the Browns? The concern is that what they are now? I don't think we find that out until Sunday.
No, I don't think so either. And there were 2 mistakes. Trevor played a very good game against the Bengals, and then he got hurt and they lost. And then he didn't play as well against the Browns. Of course, he's playing on that ankle, so you got to make sure you put that into the context. And then he had those 2 red zone errors late in the ball game, or late in the first half, that make you scratch your head and go, okay, where's the quarterback at? And I still, John, think that this is a kid who's going to be a really good quarterback. But the errors are on both sides of the ball, and they've got to get those things fixed, and it gets much more difficult when you're playing without Christian Kirk, and now perhaps Zay Jones, who's got a knee and a hamstring that he's having to deal with. So everyone around them has to pick up the slack this week. Everyone.
Let's go into our final big thing, which is question mark. Obviously, that revolves around quarterback Trevor Lawrence. He's in the concussion protocol. That came down after the game. So we don't know what the exact timeline for his return will be. Brian, I know you're a big fan of kind of just going forward with maybe either CJ Beathard and the game plan for that instead of kind of waiting out things for Trevor. But this will be an interesting week because they need to play well in Tampa. This could be, now that they're tied atop the AFC South.
Well, so we're looking here at some of the late throws. It seems so errant. That one wasn't quite so late. But some of the throws, and when he was throwing the ball, you're like, what's going on? That doesn't look like Trevor. And then we found out afterwards, John, that he was in the concussion protocol. Look, he gutted it out with the knee and had a great game on Thursday Night Football in New Orleans. And then he gutted it out and gave his team a chance to win despite the turnovers in Cleveland. This is not one he gets to decide. This is not him who says, I'm playing no matter what. He's in the protocol. So more so than ever, you don't even need to say help is not on the way. You don't even need to declare this because it's obvious. C.J. Stroud, by the way, the Houston Texans quarterback, didn't play last week, and now the word is he's not going to play this week. So I think you just have to assume he isn't playing, and C.J. Beathard's going to be the quarterback. And I think at this point of the week, it's a benefit to know that because everyone knows help is not on the way. Everyone knows that they've got to lift their game to another level and make plays so that they can help C.J. Beathard as they move the ball, however they do that.
Yeah, and I really think the key for one game, this isn't the key for career or season, even if Trevor was playing, the message would be, don't make mistakes. Don't give this away. Let's play clean and see if we can, by playing clean offensively with even if Trevor plays, it's a limited cast. I don't think Zay Jones is going to play. Christian's not going to play. They're having trouble running the ball. So it's going to be a challenge offensively. So I think that's going to be the theme even if Trevor comes back. They have to play to their identity, which has been all season. Create turnovers on defense, play good on defense, and to make some big plays offensively. I don't think it matters who plays quarterback. I think that's the approach.
This is going to be a defensive game. The defense is going to need to do this. The Bucs I think they're 21st on offense and 26th on defense. They've gotten to 7-7 because their quarterback is playing well. Baker Mayfield's coming off a perfect passer rating. I think he's the first quarterback to ever do that at Lambeau Field in another uniform other than the Packers. A 4-touchdown, 381-yard performance. So, you can just point right now. It's right here. The question is, who's going to get this done? And the answer is the defense.
All right, stay with us. We're going to go over a little bit about the road ahead and what the Jags are going to need to do if they want to win the AFC South. Jags A.M. is brought to you by Field Auto Group Jacksonville. You can step up to luxury at fieldauto.com.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Hi Jags fans, Andre Sisco here, safety of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This season, I've partnered up with Luray Peanut Company to serve a greater mission for the Jacksonville community with the Peanut Pickoff. Here's the deal. Every time the Jags make a pick, Luray is going to donate to youth football initiatives in and around the Jacksonville area. On top of that, the Jaguars Foundation will match every dollar. With each interception, our team inches closer to that W, and our kids get to train for a brighter future. Remember, it was always the Jags. Duval!
In partnership with Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, any Jaguars ticket holders who are unable to attend a Jaguars home game can donate their future tickets to a Jacksonville area first responder. Visit jaguars.com/members and click Manage Account. Sign into your account and click Manage Tickets and Parking. Select the game tickets, click on the More button, and then choose to donate to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. Firehouse Subs is dedicated to impacting the life-saving capabilities and the lives of local heroes and communities. For more information, visit FirehouseSubsFoundation.org.
Price.com is the easiest way to save money with comparison shopping, cashback, coupons all in one. It is free. You can try out Price.com today.
This or that. This or that.
Welcome back to Jags A.M. today. We're back on the couch. We're going to do a little this or that. There's a whole lot going on in the AFC South right now. Things have gotten a little bit more interesting than we were hoping they would be at this time in the season. It's a tie atop the South with the Colts and the Texans and the Jags. And a little bit of this or that. Which one are you more concerned about at this point? I think normally would say the Texans, but C.J. Stroud's in the protocol, as you mentioned, so that limits them.
Yeah, and early news this week is that it doesn't look like he's going to come out of the protocol, right? Which means that they're going to start Davis Mills, who was good enough to beat the Titans last week, but probably not good enough to beat a Browns team that has all sorts of momentum. Back-to-back winning seasons for Cleveland. It's the first time since the Marty Schottenheimer era that they have done that. So they are feeling really good about themselves, and they're in the middle of this thing. And so, good for the Jags, right? And then behind them, you've got a Colts team that is scrappy and refuses to go away, that's playing in Atlanta. So you got to be more concerned about the Colts. Because remember, they're 2 games back unless they have a better record than you. So I would say...
That's the unless part, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the scenario that could play out is Cleveland goes to Houston this week and wins. It's in Houston.
It is.
Right. And then last game of the season, Houston with a healthy C.J. Stroud beats the Colts, giving both of those teams one loss and giving Jaguars air to breathe a little bit. In that scenario, the Jaguars win the division with 2 wins, meaning they could lose Sunday and still get in. Nobody wants to be in that situation because that's like walking on a tightrope. So I'd say right now my big concern would still be the Texans long term. But the Colts are that team this year that for 11 games, probably because the Jaguars beat the Colts, it's been, the Colts. Well, now it's...
the Colts.
Now, if you lose, the Colts control your destiny, and you can't do anything about it. So I'd say both, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, one more reason why the Colts are a team to be aware of is they're getting healthy, right? So Jonathan Taylor's coming back. They got Grover Stewart, their big nose tackle, who really... They found out when he was absent how he powers that defensive front. He's such a load in the middle that you've got to have 2 guys always sort of accounting for him, and it makes everyone else's job easier. So they're getting healthy. They're getting guys back at the right time.
Certainly are. It's going to make things difficult. We will mention the Jags own the tiebreakers, but just win out, and then you don't have to worry about any of the tiebreakers, which would be key. Let's do a little quarterback talk because Nathan Rourke got picked up by the Patriots off waivers this week, and it's coming at probably the worst possible time, right? Because obviously with Trevor in the protocol, now C.J. Beathard, who was banged up the last couple weeks as well with a shoulder injury for himself. So is it a big deal that they've lost their 3rd-string quarterback? Normally I'd say no, but it's kind of not a great time to be losing him.
Well, it's not a great time, but I'm not sure it's that big of a deal. What do we really know about Nathan Rourke? We haven't seen him on the practice field. I mean, he's been out there, but we haven't seen him on a game field since August. And, he was playing at a time, John, where athletic quarterbacks run around and make plays. I mean, there were hundreds of You saw him everywhere, guys making great throws because they're running around and avoiding, guys who are driving milk trucks now, right? If there even are milk trucks anymore. But I just don't know that he's a proven commodity. I don't know you can say, other than he has more knowledge of your
I was going to say
system,
knowledge of the system.
Although E.J. Perry was here on the practice squad last year, and how much has it changed? It's the same offensive coordinator, same quarterback coach. The only thing that's changed is the wide receivers coach, and that doesn't impact it. So I would say E.J. Perry ought to be able to come back in, and I think it's a wash.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd rather have Rourke, because the reality is, if you would have rather had Perry, he would have been here.
Yeah.
So it's a little disingenuous to say it means nothing. There also is a school of thought of, once you get down to that third guy, then what are you really talking? But as soon as I say that, a lot of teams are winning and grinding through with third guys right now.
We saw the Browns.
Yeah, so you would rather probably have Rourke, but the big reality is, if they had been super concerned about that possibility, they wouldn't have ever made him available. He would have been on the 53. So
that being said, what's
I don't
the
think it
difference?
matters that much.
Well, yeah,
Right.
I was going to say, what really is the difference between Rourke and Perry? That much? That much? As John said, when you get down to it, it better be someone else making plays, because you can't rely on that third quarterback to do it.
Let's hope it doesn't get to that point.
Yeah.
We'll know exactly a little bit later on in the week. Hopefully we're going to talk to Doug Peterson today, get a little more insight about where Trevor Lawrence is on that timeline and what they're doing to prepare C.J. Beathard for this week. But stay with us after the break. We're going to go over some of our hot takes coming up.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguar sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
For 10 years, Dream Finders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all of the available inventory, and go Jags. We also want to honor our Florida Lottery High School Scholar Athlete of the Month, Caitlin Schultz. Caitlin has proven academic excellence, dedication to the community, and demonstrated leadership on and off the field. The Bright Futures Scholarship Program is primarily funded by the Florida Lottery. It assists students in pursuing post-secondary education and career goals. Caitlin runs cross country. She's on the cheer team as well, and she's hoping to go to the University of Florida when she graduates school. So congratulations to Caitlin on all of your accomplishments. We're back here on Jags A.M. this morning, and we've had a little time to settle from Sunday. I know the sky felt like it was falling at that point. It may still be falling, but at least we're a little calmer about it. What are our hot takes this week? Brian, you want to kick us off?
Sure. This week, it is the how before the who. The NFL is always about who, John. I mean, it's who's your quarterback. It's about players, not plays. But this week, to me, it's about Doug Peterson and Press Taylor trying to figure out how to move the football with a collection of guys that are or haven't been impact players yet, right? I mean, Parker Washington has a couple of touchdowns, but you're looking at Elijah Cooks and Tim Jones. You know, who knows if you bring a Seth Williams up from the practice squad. It is more about how they get guys open and how they utilize CJ Beathard and what they ask him to do. It's always players, but this week I just have this strong sense that Doug and Preston, their team, are going to have to grind to create ways to get guys open and be clever and creative. Not that they're not always wanting to be that, but this week there's more of an emphasis on it.
Yeah, it's frankly hard to see when you try to analyze it where points and where offensive efficiency is going to come from. They've been really good at times when they've had all four guys. It's been operating smoothly, but they're not going to have all four, and they only have two, and the running game has not shown us that it can be a reliable force for this team that teams even have to respect. So they will have to scheme. I don't know if you're going to see a trick play, if you're going to see something like that. You know, that feels desperate. You don't have to do that. They somehow have to get their way into 2 field goals and 2 touchdowns and a win 20-17 to me. And that will take, some scheming on the part of Taylor and Peterson. That's the reality this week, I think.
It might be one of those we need some points from the defense game as well, or turnovers, getting really good field position in the red zone, helping
Short
in any
field.
way that
Well,
they
remember
can.
the other night,
Extra possession.
if you take advantage of your opportunities in the first half,
Totally different.
you get at least 12, maybe even 16, and then the Agnew touchdown gets you to 23. They sort of had the formula the other night, and
They should make a play.
as I've talked about, you can't give, when you're scoreboard hunting and when you're score playing like that, you can't give those opportunities away, because then all of a sudden, instead of being up, you're
Right.
down the whole way, and now you're playing uphill. I don't think they're very good at playing uphill right now because of the personnel.
Just one example, Luke Farrell had that 28-yard completion on the second drive that put them into scoring position at the 35-yard line, I believe, of the Ravens. And you had Zay Jones and Evan Ingram and Ridley and Travis Etienne, and so it was easy for him to get lost, right? The safety, they didn't pay attention. He's normally a blocking tight end. Well, this week there's going to have to be more scheme to get him open so that he can make plays for you.
It's tough when they're in such trouble relying on the running game that I think it affects everything else play calling wise. When you don't really trust that a handoff is going to get you 3.5, then all of a sudden you become wary of what you have to call on other plays because you don't really trust that. When you watch them, that's what it sort of feels like right now. I hope Sunday they prove that statement wrong. I went with they need to grow up again, and I was wrong about this team in one sense, I guess. After the Texans game, I said they're a mature team now that knows how to win games. Really, because for 7 of 8 games they had been that. They had played to a certain identity. They looked to me like a team that was sort of playoff tough, if you will, that they could win low-scoring, grinded-out games by playing smart, by sort of willing themselves to do that. I thought they did that a few times. And in the last 3 games, when they've sort of needed that somebody to make a big play, this is our game now moment, they really haven't had it. And again, I don't think they would have been favored in any of those 3 games based on how the teams are playing now. But a mature team that's going to make it, that's sort of establishing itself, figures out a way to get one, and they haven't done that. And I think that's surprising to the people involved with it. It's not too late to be that team. You can, if you win the last 3, then all of a sudden you're that team again. They got to, this week especially, it just feels like they need that ability to will themselves to it, even if you don't know how they're going to do it. I thought they were that team for a while. I'm less certain about them right now, and I hope they show it again on Sunday to be that.
I think there might be a chance because we do see them do it against teams they should beat,
Yeah.
I will say. A lot of their issues have come against, there's no shame in losing to the Ravens. It's just you right there. You could have put yourself in a better place with that. A lot of that was stuff you did to yourself. So
Well, that's a little bit of it. If they had lost any of these last 3 and it wasn't a 3-game losing streak, I think people would say, oh, okay, I get it. They're good. When you compile them together and giving some away, it has that cumulative feeling that, again, back to the top of the show, I think Doug is is trying to sort of break that cumulative feeling by saying, hey, remember where we are.
And it's hard to do with the backup quarterback and without 2 key receivers. And 2 offensive linemen who are not 100% on the left side.
There's a lot of stuff going around that they need to clean up, and hopefully people will be coming back at some point. Mine's a little bit more about the culture of the team and moving forward what the team needs to work on. I think the Jaguars need to learn to hate losing more than sometimes that they like winning. And I mean that in the sense of you're never going to get the entire team on board with this, but some of the great teams and the franchises that are continually successful, they dislike when they're playing bad more than maybe they're happy when they win. I think Doug Peterson's one of those people. I think when we talk to him after games, he's kind of baffled sometimes by people not being on the same page as him because he's one of those guys. I think, we heard from Josh Allen. I think he's one of those guys. But there's a lot of young players on this team. There's a lot of veterans on this team, but they didn't necessarily come from winning franchises where they're expected to win, make the playoffs every single season. They're coming from somewhere where if you win, great. If you don't win, whatever. And I think they have to get over that happy to be here thing a little bit because yes, they should beat a lot of these teams. They can win these games. They're perfectly able. If I thought that the roster was bad, I'd be like, yeah, I'm happy they won some of these games too. But they can be better. It's a matter of being disappointed because they need to want that for themselves a little bit too.
Well, they've got a perfect example to learn to hate losing because they've done it 3 times in a row.
Yes. If they don't hate it, I will hate it for them. Yep. But they should learn that for sure. All right, stay with us. We'll come up and preview a little bit of what we going on the rest of the week as we get ready to head to Tampa Bay on Christmas Eve.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
It's your last chance to trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium and iPad and Apple Watch SE all on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Act now. Visit Verizon.com. iPhone requires Unlimited Ultimate plan first. Service plan required for iPad and Apple Watch. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line required first. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit. Up to $459.99 device payment purchase with new line on eligible plan required per Apple Watch or iPad. Less up to $459.99 promo credit per device applied. 0% APR. Additional terms and conditions apply.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Jags fans, if you want customized Jaguars furniture for your home, check out zipchair.com to browse all the customizable options. ZipChair is furniture for fans. We also want to take a moment to thank JEA's frontline teams for the critical services they provide to this community. Today, we'd like to recognize JEA's frontline team of the game winners, and a special thanks to JEA's Storm Outreach team for their dedication to restore our community and keep customers informed after major storms. So thanks to them. It's going to be quite a week we're heading to Tampa on Christmas Eve. It's a 4 p.m. game, a little bit of a primetime game, if you will. But we don't know who's going to be out there necessarily, certainly behind center.
No, we don't. I'm going to chase down outside linebackers coach Bill Shuey, who coaches Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, because those guys are going to have a big day and create opportunities like we're talking about, takeaways and short fields and extra possessions. Josh is obvious, right, what he's doing right now. Trayvon, too. He's playing really good football. That was a big sack last week. And anyone who watched the game knows that the Sunday Night Football crew featured him a couple of different times. The way he chased down Lamar Jackson, he's coming. You can feel this kid is coming, and it couldn't come at a better time. So I'm anxious to find Shuey and talk about it.
I think they have 19 sacks between them. That's a pace to finish about 21 or 22.
19 and a half.
So, yeah, they've been a strength. When this defense has played well, which is most of the season, played well the other night, I thought, those two have played well.
And everyone wants to make the Aiden Hutchinson comparison. They always will with him. Hutchinson has 6.5 sacks. Trayvon has 6. So be careful how quickly you throw the baby out with the bathwater.
We'll keep an eye on everything this week. We'll preview the game against the Bucs coming up tomorrow on Jags A.M. We will see you then.